SimBoxx, co-host of the Let's Talk Boxing podcast, and all-round boxing casual fan. Now, I'd just like to start this video by giving a shout out to our partners, Clint Patrick. You can find those guys over on Instagram for the latest high-quality streetwear. Shout out for the reflective trucker cap. You can find that on the website, clintpatrick.co.uk. But for now, this is the Sweet Science with SimBoxx, and today's video we're looking at the curious case of Adrien "The Problem" Broner. Now, the rumoured return of Adrien "The Problem" Broner is scheduled to take place February 13th, and this is after a 2-year layoff for Adrien Broner. He's been out of the ring since 2019, a one-sided loss to Manny Pacquiao, but there's more on that later on. But let's just, look at Adrien Broner just a little bit in depth. He's a former 4-weight world champion. He's won world titles at super featherweight, at lightweight, at light welterweight, and at welterweight. His accomplishments are not to be sniffed at. His out of the ring antics do leave a lot to be desired, but inside the ring, he is the problem, Adrien Broner. He's 31 years of age now. He's got a record of 33, 4-1, and 1 no contest. But inactivity is a huge problem for Adrien Broner, and this is something we will be looking at a little later on in the video. He's not had a victory in coming on 4 years. That's a long, long time. He beat Adrian Granados back in 2017, and since that point, he has drew with Jesse Vargas, he's lost to Mikey Garcia, and he's also lost to Manny Pacquiao, as we mentioned. Now, Ewan, my co-host of the Let's Talk Boxing podcast, is going to break down just where he thought Adrien Broner went wrong against Manny Pacquiao in his most recent bout, like I say, coming on 24 months ago.
Thank you, Luke. So I think the story of Adrien Broner's loss to Manny Pacquiao is about inactivity. Ultimately, Adrien Broner did not throw enough punches to win that fight. So I identified 3 reasons for this watching the fight back, and the first is loss of lead foot position. So when an orthodox fighters fight a southpaw, who has the lead foot position, who has their foot on the outside and therefore can deliver down the central channel, that is ultimately very, very important. And Adrien Broner from the off did not have fast enough reflexes in his legs and his feet to maintain lead foot position against Manny Pacquiao. Granted, he did it in spots, but to beat somebody like Pacquiao who throws lots and lots of punches, you have to do it for the entirety of the fight. So that is something that I thought really affected Broner's performance in the fight. I thought that had he been able to establish that, the pattern of the fight might have changed. But ultimately, from rounds 1 and 2, Broner could not get his foot on the outside of Pacquiao and therefore could not deliver the punches that he wanted to down the channel. The second thing that I think affected Adrien Broner's output in that fight was missed punches. From the opening bell, he missed more punches than I've ever seen him do before. He was really, really missing out on those opportunities. His jab was heavily telegraphed with his front foot, as was his right hand with his back foot. And Pacquiao was able to identify that and push him out of his rhythm from very, very early on. He's a rhythm fighter, Adrien Broner. He likes to be doing what he wants to be doing. So missing those punches really affected him. His stinging right hand, which has been his main attribute in a lot of these fights, that ended up being a hindrance, because as he was missing it, when Pacquiao was making him miss, that was tiring him, that was sapping his energy, and that moves into my third point, which was stamina. I think Adrien Broner's lifestyle caught up with him. Granted, he was in good shape for the fight, but I think that, shape is something that is long-term, and it's about living the life and dedication, and Adrien Broner hadn't been doing that. And at 29 years old, he looked a man much more advanced than that. He was struggling for breath. When he nearly got stopped in the 7th and the 9th rounds, he was struggling for air. He couldn't work his body in the way he used to be able to. So I think those are the main factors as to why Adrien Broner lost to Manny Pacquiao.
So as you can see, he was second best in every department in the loss to Manny Pacquiao. And this leads me to ask, what is left in the tank for Adrien Broner? 31 years of age. He's been there, he's done that, like I say, in terms of the world titles that he's won. But you've got to ask yourself, what is left in the tank of Adrien Broner? Is this just motivated by money? Does he think he can reclaim a world title of sorts in what are stacked divisions? You've got to imagine that he's going to be coming back around at the 140 or the 147 pound marker. Again, a little bit more on that later on. But what is left in the tank for Broner? Is this financially gained? We see him with his outer ring antics. He's had more court cases than fights, unfortunately, recently, and that's left him a bit short in the pocket, I would imagine, with some of the implications that he's faced out of the ring. So is this return after so long out of the ring just about financial gain? Because, like him or not, he has that kind of aura about him where people will tune in whether they want to watch him win or whether they want to watch him lose. Adrien Broner sells, the name sells, and I guess that's what he will be banking on in this return. Is this just about money for Adrien Broner? In a word, yes, I do think so. But what if it's not? What if he is looking at challenging for a world title? Where would those opportunities likely to become? Because as I say, he does have the name. Is it going to be £140 with some of the names there? Maybe £147? Again, I think his chances are very, very slim given his age, his inactivity. You look at the £140 division, the likes of Josh Taylor, the likes of Jose Ramirez, Regis Prograis is there or thereabouts. The impending arrival of Teofimo Lopez from the lightweight division, should he move up as anticipated, you know, so it's a stacked division there. And you look at the £147 division, and that's just as talented. At the very top, you've got Errol Spence, you've got Terence Crawford, and then even perennial challengers and former world champions like Danny Garcia or Sean Porter, who has defeated Broner in the past. You know, these guys are active fighters, they're winning fighters, and they're very, very talented. So you've got to wonder that if Broner is looking at challenge for world titles again, is he going to get there on merit? Is he going to work his way up the rankings? Or is it simply going to be about Adrien Broner, the name, and the fact that he will sell with the right opponent? Who knows? For a long time, Adrien Broner seemed to be the heir apparent to Floyd Mayweather. His long-time friend out of the ring. They did have some issues, of course. Who could forget some of the outbursts from Broner post-fight when he's been calling for a fight with Floyd in the past?
I'm a man that learned from physical activity, so me and Floyd, he gotta see me. He gotta see me. And I come from the streets, the trenches, man. From the bottom, from nothing. I'm talking about water and cornflakes. I come from nothing. And I will never let a man disrespect me like that. So he gotta see me. I don't care if we spar or we fight. Let's get it on.
But he seemed to be the heir apparent to the Floyd Mayweather throne for so long, until 2013, and he ran it into Marcus Maidana, and we all know what happened with that fight there. It was a one-sided beatdown for Broner that seemed to smash the aura of invincibility that was building around him. Now, looking back to 2012, Broner was actually ranked as high as 5th in the Ring Magazine's pound-for-pound rankings. That seems a lifetime ago now. That's 8-9 years ago. As I mentioned previously in this video, the talent that he's got to face in the 140 or 147 pound divisions, the inactivity, the out-of-the-ring antics, it doesn't bode very well. But the name Broner still sells. There's still intriguement, there's still excitement. This really is the last chance saloon, I think, for Adrien Broner as we move into 2021. If there's going to be one more title challenge, it's got to come this year. The return is due for February 13th. We wait to see if that happens, and we also wait with bated breath to see where that leads to in the career of Adrien Broner as we move through 2021. For now, check us out across social media at SimBoxx on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. Check out Clint Patrick's too. Please subscribe and comment your thoughts on this video on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel too. It's always appreciated. Check out the latest podcast as well. Thanks for checking out the video. Take care, guys.